Greetings, my beautiful lovelies, it's Emmy. Welcome back. Today I'm going to be making Dalgona coffee. Dalgona coffee is everywhere. You're seeing it all over TikTok, you're seeing it all over Instagram, and it is a beautiful, striking looking coffee in which it's kind of reversed. Rather than having your milk or foam on the top, you've got your coffee foam on top and the milk on bottom. It's just striking and beautiful, but the best thing about it is that you can whip it up yourself. It looks very fancy and gourmet, but you just need 3 ingredients. Well, you need milk, you need sugar, you need instant coffee powder, and water. So technically 4 ingredients. Ice cubes if you want this chilled, and you can just whip this up in your kitchen. Now what's interesting about this is it kind of blew up in South Korea because everyone is on lockdown, everyone's staying home and socially distancing themselves from everyone during this coronavirus, and everyone is inside and looking for things to do. So this beautiful striking thing is really easy to make, and so many people are posting it on social media because it is so striking. And I'm going to be making it today, but I'm going to be doing a couple other versions as well. I've also read that you can make this with matcha powder, which is green tea powder, and cocoa powder as well, because a lot of you may not have instant coffee powders. Now, I have really high hopes that this is going to work because just a couple months ago, I did this amazing, magical coffee whipped topping made from the same stuff, this freeze-dried coffee crystals. It's absolutely incredible. You just take some cold water, this, and sugar, and you whip it up and it becomes this gorgeous whipped topping. It looks like meringue and has the same consistency as meringue. It has a really great standing power. I had mine sitting in the refrigerator for hours and it's just gorgeous. No eggs, no dairy. It was incredible. It really is magical. So the results were spectacular, so I have a lot of confidence that this recipe will work as well. So a little background about Dalgona coffee. It actually originates from Macau, India, and Pakistan, where it's known as whipped coffee. I learned that from my last video. Many of you left that in the comments. I'm like, oh, that's so interesting. You can just whip this up and have it as a coffee. Some people actually store this kind of whipped mixture in the refrigerator and then just add it with a little bit of water, hot water, to get this nice frothy hot coffee drink. So this was made popular in South Korea by an actor named Jong-il-woo, who tasted it in Macau and said that it had flavors of Dalgona. Now, Dalgona is a sweet treat that you can find in Korea, and it's similar in texture to honeycomb or sea foam. It's made with caramelized sugar with a little bit of baking soda, and it puffs up and has that great kind of spongy, hard texture. That's similar to Dalgona. So that's how it's got its name, and that's where it comes from. Now let's go ahead and try making this for ourselves. So let's do the traditional one first, and you're going to need some of this, and this is just freeze-dried instant coffee powder. So I'm going to be using my hand mixer. Also, if you don't have a hand mixer, you can also do this with a whisk, and I've read that if you whisk it around 400 times, you should be able to get this kind of frothy confection. But since I have a hand mixer, I'm going to use it. The recipe couldn't be any simpler. It's just a 1:1:1 ratio. So I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of coffee crystals and 2 tablespoons of sugar and 2 tablespoons of hot water, which is interesting because in my last recipe, it said that you had to use ice water, and now we're using hot water. We'll see. 2 tablespoons. So the temperature of the water may not matter as much. I don't know, we'll see. And now we're just going to beat this until it gets foamy. All right, here we go. So as I mentioned in the coffee whip video, the reason why this works according to Harold McGee is about the particulate size. So the coffee crystals are very, very, very fine. And what that does is strengthens the point between the bubbles in the foam and allows them to have a lot of structure and a lot of integrity so that you can build a foam that's really, really thick and strong and has tiny, tiny bubbles. So I'm thinking the matcha powder and the cocoa powder will also work for the same reasons because they're so finely milled. But we shall see. Okay, let's continue. It's so cool. You can see it already beginning to lighten in color. And as you increase the speed, it happens much faster. So I'm going to scrape the sides down to make sure we get all of that mixed in. This stuff is absolutely magical. It is so fun to make because it's just magic before your eyes. Look at that. In just a matter of about 3 to 4 minutes, we have this amazing whipped coffee stuff. Just incredible. So next, let's make a cocoa powder version. Now I'm going to do the same thing. 2 tablespoons of sugar, 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder, 2 tablespoons of hot water. Oops. Give that an initial stir to kind of combine everything. Oh, this one smells good. Now I noticed right off the bat, this one's not changing color at all. Immediately when I did the coffee one, it started to lighten up, which indicates to me that some air is being incorporated into the mixture and it's starting to become foamy. This seems to be incorporating and getting a little bit of viscosity, and I think that has to do with the dissolving of the sugar, but I'm not seeing any lightening of color, but it could happen. Let's see. So it's definitely thickening. Ooh, I think it might be working too. It's not as thick. It doesn't have that huge fluffy texture, but I'm gonna keep going. This is definitely thickening, but it's not as thick, not nearly as thick as the coffee version. This is definitely thickened to a batter-like consistency, while this is like a marshmallow fluff consistency. Look at that, it's so gorgeous. It even has kind of a sticky, tacky kind of pull of marshmallow fluff. Well, this, it's definitely thickened in volume, but it doesn't have that huge fluffy lusciousness. So I've been beating this for about 7 minutes, which is about 2 minutes longer than I whipped up the coffee version. So I'm gonna stop there and let's try the matcha version. Same proportions, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 2 tablespoons of matcha powder, which is ground green tea. And this is a lot of matcha powder. 2 tablespoons of that. Now we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of hot water. And I'm gonna do an initial kind of stir here. So there seems to be just a slight lightening in color, just in the initial minute of whipping, but kind of similar to the cocoa powder. It's becoming more of a syrup. And it is lightening in color too, but still remains kind of syrupy and more kind of like a batter. Let's just do it the whole 7 minutes and see what happens. So now that we have all our foams whipped up, we're ready to assemble the drink. So for this version, I'm just using regular milk. Feel free to substitute any kind of milk you like. A couple ice cubes to each little glass. And now we're gonna top it with our foam. I'm gonna begin with the matcha. Just float that right on top. Ooh, it's too heavy. Look, it's sinking to the bottom. Just gonna try to be very gentle. So, that didn't work. The foam is sinking to the bottom. It's supposed to stay up on top. Rats. Oh well. Let's try the chocolate version, the cocoa powder. I'll try the gentler on top. No, that one too is too heavy. Oh, although this one's staying a little bit. Nope, it's kind of sinking as well. Rats. That one's gonna taste delicious though, I know it. And finally, the coffee version. Oh, that's so gorgeous. All right, here we go. Oh, yes. Look at that, that's so beautiful. Let's go ahead and taste the original Dalgona coffee first. I was very generous with my foam here, but I'm gonna do my best to kind of mix this in so that, oops. So I'm gonna put this into this glass right here. And the foam is still sticking to the top. Still very, very beautiful. I use 2% milk because that's what I had. We are currently social distancing. We are not making any trips to the grocery store. So I think this probably be a little bit more successful with whole milk or any kind of milk that has a little bit more body. It could support the foam more. I think perhaps that would have been better for the other two experiments. But having said that, the 2% milk is still supporting the coffee foam. So let's first try it with the foam right on top without any kind of mixing. Alrighty, here we go. Cheers. That is not a good way to drink this because the foam is so thick and you've got ice cubes in there, and once the milk passes through, it kind of just like gooshes all over the place. So it definitely requires some mixing. But now I see why Jun-il Woo called this Dalgona. It has such a beautiful caramel flavor to it. Now this is much sweeter than the whipped topping that I made before. Oh my goodness. Okay, here we go. Let's mix this up like this. All right, now let's give that a taste. That's pretty good. It's got a very strong, bitter, kind of almost burnt coffee flavor to it, but the level of sweetness is nice. There's some sugar in there that balances it out. It tastes caramelly and toasted and cooked. I think in terms of an experience, it was much more playful when the foam was separate from the milk, and you had more of that kind of caramel flavor. But when everything's mixed together, you don't have that kind of contrast between textures. And it just tastes like a milky, strong, caramelly coffee. Yeah, definitely more playful as two separate parts, but pretty tasty and a really fun experiment to do in the kitchen, especially when you've got a lot of time on your hands. Okay, let's try the cocoa version first. Again, I'm gonna try it separate first. Tastes like milk. I am also mildly lactose intolerant, so to combat that, I usually take a lactase or a dairy enzyme, and that helps me digest milk. Okay, so now I'm just gonna mix this up. This looks like chocolate syrup at the bottom, and this looks delicious. All right, here we go. Oh, yeah. It's not as thick as a milkshake, but has that same level of kind of ice creamy sweetness. And tons of chocolate flavor. Oh yeah, that's delicious. That's basically like a whipped Hershey syrup mixed with milk. Chocolate milk. Oh yeah, my kids are gonna love that. In terms of flavors, I actually like this better than the coffee. I think this is a little bit more nostalgic for me. While this is still delicious, I think the whipping experience, hands down, is the most satisfying with the coffee. In terms of taste, so far, the chocolate one. Yes. Now let's taste the matcha. Same thing, we're gonna just taste it without any kind of mixing. That one actually has some matcha combined in it. I can definitely taste it. That's good too. It doesn't taste nearly as sweet as the other two. Matcha is very, very bitter. Has a very nice grassy flavor to it. Definitely of all the three, I like the chocolate version the most in terms of flavor. This one is the most delightful for sure, just as a fun experiment to do while you're shuttered up, but in terms of flavor, this one's the winner. Alrighty, so there you have it. That's how you make Dalgona coffee, along with the cocoa and the matcha variants as well. Those were definitely not as successful in terms of getting that beautiful foam, but in terms of flavor, they're quite good. If you want to try experiment with those as well, definitely try that. The chocolate one is really tasty, but if you happen to have some of this crystally coffee powder, I highly recommend just trying this as a fun experiment because the transformation is really, really wonderful. Alrighty, my lovelies, thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you are well. Know that I'm thinking of you. Follow me on social media. I've been posting more there. I've been feeling a need to connect with all of you through all the social distancing. This is a really difficult time for all of us, but we're gonna be okay. All right, thanks again for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. I hope you guys learned something. Please share this video with your friends. Follow me on social media, like this video, subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Toodaloo, take care, bye.